Hello and welcome back to DG Trades. It has been a while and I wanted to talk about a subject near and dear to me, and that is Cardano. And a lot of us have been very frustrated with the price action. I'm going to go over some technical analysis now on Cardano, but I'll also talk about the reasons I believe why Cardano is a laggard right now. We all are accustomed to these kind of very flatline movements. Let's get into the chart here. And most of us who have been in Cardano a while understand these kind of very, very high bursts of activity, and then this kind of like flatline, then high burst, and then come down, flatline, high burst, flatline. And a good question that a lot of people have right now is, are we going to see another burst? It really depends upon how long this cycle is going to last in terms of the market. And when we see other coins having these incredible gains, and we see Cardano down from its high of around 30, I think 37% as we speak, is it going to spike up? Now, this is a very critical juncture, this price point that we're at with Cardano right now. If you're a long-term holder, disregard this information. This is mostly for those that have been invested up here around 3, high 2s, and they're seeing the price down now, and they're like, oh God, like what did I do? Seeing other coins like Solana, Luna, other coins having nice runs, AVAX, coins that are having adoption in protocols on their blockchain that are functioning, while Cardano really is having issues with it. Now, let's go over some technicals first, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you what I believe is happening right now, why we're seeing this price action, which you might have seen on a few other channels, but I really want to get in depth in this and discover, I want to get some price discovery going here and some ideas on where we're going from here. So first off, let's look at the chart. And I drew a line here. You won't see this on a lot of technical analysis on other channels, but there's this, this is the bull run. This is really when it took off. And this was back here around January of the beginning of the year. And this base blue line that I'm showing you here is a very important line, and it had broke once. Right around July, everything was having issues in that time. June, July was very difficult months for crypto. And that is the only time that you've seen it. Let me draw right here where I'm talking about this area right here where it broke below that support. Now, is this going to happen again? Probably. I think there's more of a reason for this to break down below that support than there is to shoot up from here. Again, this is speculation. This is not financial advice. And this does not necessarily mean this is a bad thing. Now, if you're holding from up in the high 3s or high 2s, it is a bad thing. And you're like, DG, please tell me some good news here. But let's discuss the issues first after we go with the technical analysis. Now, this line of support here that we have, very important, around the 197 area, and it really needs to hold this. And we can see right now, current price 195, Ethereum hitting all new highs, other coins hitting highs, and Cardano just barely holding. So what that tells me is if we do have a bad day in the crypto markets, that Cardano will drop. Will we? I'm not quite sure. Fed meeting tomorrow. They're going to talk about tapering. You're going to see a lot of volatility probably tomorrow. And generally speaking, not necessarily a bad time to dip a toe in to buy like any type of sell-offs, generally speaking, because after the tapering is announced, that's like worst case scenario. And, people can generally profit in those particular times. Now, again, we'll not get into that too much. I won't talk about that. Let's get back to the point at hand here, which is Cardano. I wanted to show you another chart here, but let's look at the technical analysis first at this $1.97, this green support line that I have here. And let me remove this. Let me remove the fib levels here real quick so that you guys can get a better understanding. I've drawn in different areas of price point action. These are the different levels I see. But this particular line here, this $1.97, you can see a descending triangle. Look at this red resistance line. Okay. I have a spectrum of bull run scenarios here developing primarily from this recent 148 launch off pad. I think that we might see a dip down here in that area. I think it is because the fundamentals right now not looking so good. for Cardano, and we'll again talk about that. I could be wrong, but I consider this, to me, possibly a buying opportunity. But let's really talk about these problems after I show you another chart. Now let's look at Sol here. And some of you are like kicking yourself who are owning Cardano and going, God, blah, don't show me Sol. But I want to show you another pattern for me here, another descending triangle. This is more like a bull pennant, if you ask me. It's a bull flag. Very similar, honestly. If you look in this, you could debate that this may be a bull flag, but anyhow, the pattern from this pennant here, from this descending triangle, you can see it hit the top range of this resistance and broke through, tested it, and then tapped off and launched off. Now, why did Sol break the top end of this triangle and launch off, and Cardano hit in this triangle and dropping below support? Now, here's where we get into the goodies, the meat of Cardano. And I want to talk to you a little bit about what's going on in blockchain and the use and the utility of blockchain. Blockchain needs a utility. There needs to be a purpose or a function of a blockchain for it to hold some type of value. Right now, I'm showing you market caps. They've actually been, they're higher than this now. They're much higher than this since this is posted. This was posted on October 4th. We're higher than this, except for Cardano, actually. Interestingly enough, Solana is now at 63 and almost going to flip Cardano. I think Solana will, short term, flip Cardano, possibly even longer than short term. Ethereum is, I think, closer to a $500 billion market cap. Anyway, going off of figures right now where I'm just kind of going back and trying to see what the market did today. But the point is the total value locked, the TVL, and that is the net total of all DEXs and Dapps that are using the blockchain. Okay, so we can see 134 billion. Ethereum has been around a long time and has first advantage because it's been around for so long. So many people using Ethereum. Again, gas prices becoming astronomical. People going, what the fuck, and now Ethereum becoming a class of value almost in the same manner that Bitcoin is, because as far as the utility of it, and the gas fees are just getting so ridiculous that I think the gas fees will make it so that many more people move to cheaper platforms where they can, deal with lower transaction fees, which is good for Cardano. It's good for Solana. It's good for other blockchains that have lower gas fees. So that is a plus. But in this bull cycle, like, how much longer will the cycle last versus how long can you hold Cardano before you start to see some total value locked? Zero, none, because no protocols are using it. But why? Why are no protocols using Cardano right now? And that has a lot to do with after Goguen was released, which are the different phases of Cardano. Goguen released, I believe, last month or so, and or 2 months almost now. Let's see here, right? September 21st area, which was the top. Currently where Cardano stands, and then boom, you get this sell the kind of news event, but then something else happens and people start to realize slowly, like, wait a second, Cardano has nothing working on it after contracts. They're all waiting on what is called Plutus Application Backend. Supporting the DApp development on Cardano so that the DApps and the DEXs can move into Cardano and start using the blockchain, and we have this utility, and then we will start to see some total value locked in Cardano. But the question is, will Plutus Application Backend work? They're in testing phase right now. It's peer reviewed, so it's slower than other blockchains, and that could be a detriment in this type of climate. When you're talking about a bull cycle that might be 50-60% over, will Cardano lock in some value here? Will they get Plutus out, and will they have DApps and DEXs start to use the chain as intended before the cycle ends? That is the crux of the problem, and why Cardano is doing what it is doing, because people who are familiar with blockchain understand that the value is in the utility. Now, there are plenty of people lining up Sunday Swap, for instance, and this recent Cardano 360 episode, which I found very, very interesting. Pi Lanium, which is the chief information officer for SundaeSwap, which is going to be a DEX using Cardano. He kind of, to me, sounded a bit frustrated, but he says, hey, we're ready to go. We're working with the developers at IOHK. They've been very helpful. He seems like he's a little bit frustrated with the block of 16 kilobyte blocks and having to write code in those blocks. And to him, it seems like it's a bit harder, but he says we are ready to list as soon as Plutus Application Backend releases. Now, Charles saying at the end of November, Plutus Application Backend should be ready to go. No definitive date, just end of November, which the market doesn't like that. They want definitive dates. They want to know that it's going to come out in a certain amount of time. It is important for the price. And Charles says it's not about the price. And a lot of people in the Cardano community also say, hey, it's not about the price. However, people at the $3 range and the upper $2 range are saying, it's kind of about the price. They're locked up here. And if you look at the depth in terms of buy orders and sell orders right now, sell orders, oof, there's a lot of sellers. There's a high ceiling of sellers right now that Cardano will have to bust through. And it's starting to weigh down on the price action. My hopes is that we do see a pop up, that we do see something happen in this triangle, and it does pop up, but it just looks like it's lagging and it's having a hard time. But same could be said over here when you saw this break of the major support line, the major support line. The question is if this does break, if Cardano does break below this, where is it going to go? Will it do similar to what we saw here, or will it continue to move downwards? That really all depends upon Plutus Application Backend, or what they're calling PAB, and that is really important to the price action and people who care about price of Cardano in the movement upwards. So that needs to be explained, and that is really not being explained on other channels properly. So I hope the people that are watching here on this channel can appreciate that information. It's very hard to find. Nobody really talks, sense when it comes to this thing, to data points on Cardano, and a lot of it's just helter skelter and let's go to the moon, and nobody really busts it down logically and gives you reasons why Cardano was going down. And that's why you see Sol popping, and that's why you see Cardano lagging, and it goes back again to the utility of the blockchain. And protocols right now 22 on Solana, BNB 110, Luna. I follow this gentleman, Chad Caff, and he says, hey, interesting, look at this, total value locked on Luna, also down. I am in Luna, and I think there is some upside in it, although there is a little bit of worries with the stable coin and regulation from the government. That's something that might be a little bit more risk on for people, so be aware of that if you are involved with Luna. But I personally love the tokenomics, while other people are poo-pooing the tokenomics of Luna. And I just love the synergies between UST, which is the stablecoin, the Terra stablecoin, and the currency, the cryptocurrency. Anyway, we're not talking about Luna, we're talking about Cardano. So again, Charles Hoskinson, not so worried about price. Other people who are in at higher levels, very worried about Cardano price. And, here is the thing. Charles at some point will probably care about price as he holds Cardano. If Cardano drops to a point where he goes, holy shit, I think there is some worry in Charles's mind, like I should probably start caring about price. So Plutus, I think PAB is important. I think he understands that it's important. Will it happen and will it be successful is something to worry about. I have confidence that they will get it out. I'm not quite sure when, though. And that's the question. When? If it is in November and there are no problems, then you got SundaeSwap coming in and a lot of other dApps, and boom, and you start creating an environment where total value is starting to be locked, and you're starting to see an ecosphere. You're starting to see a system now, an ecosystem of dApps and DEXs. And you will probably see Cardano. So there is that probability that this will happen. And as long as the bull run is going on, from December and maybe even into January. Some people calling all the way out to March, and I'm not sure if I'm that positive. But is it worth the risk? And that's really the question you have to ask for. Is it worth waiting for? There's a little too many ifs for me, so I lightened up a little bit on Cardano at the high $2 areas. And apologies, I should have probably put that out a little bit sooner. And I'm still holding, but I took that capital and used it for other areas. And a lot of people here, usually selling around this area. If you're already down, it's usually not a great strategy, okay, unless you really want to, look at the data points here and say, do I want to wait? Is it worth this risk? Charles Hoskinson, here's something that is an interesting proposition. Charles Hoskinson right now is going on a tour of Africa, and he just signed an MOU with the government of Burundi. And, not a lot of people, or not a lot of the GDP, is not that great. But he's going around Africa getting people on board on a Cardano blockchain. Pardon me for speculating here, but I believe Charles is going about this in a manner of where he's total value locked is not as important as the people in Cardano. I almost think he is saying, I'm more interested in bringing more people to Cardano in Cardano than I am worried about the protocols. And I'm not quite sure I'm okay with that. Personally, as somebody who invested in Cardano, I'm not quite sure that strategy is the best strategy. A lot of people also saying, oh, this is a great thing in Africa. And, it's great because, he's going to take a lot of impoverished people and people that are going to invest in a blockchain eventually in years to come. Could make substantial gains and lift themselves out of a poverty-stricken environment, which is absolutely wonderful. But in this cycle, and as a trader or as an investor looking for short to maybe midterm, not quite sure that's going to happen right away, and that's something you have to think about. And also, going into Africa and doing this, when there is so much Chinese investment into Africa right now, the amount of dollars that China has put into Africa, seems to me like this may be a flawed strategy for one reason only. If crypto takes off like it might in Africa because of this and other people getting involved in Africa with crypto, since there's so much investment with China, could China then say, we're not liking this? You saw what they did. You saw what China did. They withdrew from crypto altogether, banned all crypto, and said, you're just going to trade the digital. The digital yuan is the only thing that matters. And that was a bold chess move, but it's backfiring in their face. And yet they did that. And could it be something in the future where China says, we don't agree with what you're doing to the government officials in Africa. We have a lot invested in you. Cut this out. Do what we did. That is something I don't hear a lot of people talking about either, that China could strong arm government officials in different African countries if crypto starts to lift off and take off. And China says, no. If you want a continued relationship or investment from China, cut this out. Now, probability, who knows? I'm not quite sure what the probability of that's going to be, but that is way in the future. That is not anything that we have to worry about now in this cycle. What we have to worry about right now in this cycle is, will Plutus Application Backend be successful, functioning, and will DApps and DEXs be able to finally do this and just kickstart ADA? I'm not quite sure I'm even willing to place any bets in that. If I were to buy down here, it seems like maybe a good thing, but if PAB is not successful and the wait then goes into December, you could probably have a drop down to this level. I'm expecting a drop down into the let's see here. This is a very wide range, but anywhere from 186 to 147. So I think that we will probably get into this. And again, I could be dead wrong about this, but I think we're going to be getting into this region. And then it becomes, do you want to buy in this region, or do you want to hold the bag if you were still in this area and now you're down here? Will we get a repeat of this? We could get a repeat of this. We could absolutely get a repeat of this if PAB works and and everything comes online. We could get an absolute repeat, just like we're seeing here. So this is the gamble. This is the bet. Could be a great buying opportunity down here if you believe Plutus, if PAB gets completed and DApps and DEXs come online and we have an ecosystem. And if you bought down here and that hits and things come in end of November, you could have a rocket. You could be riding a rocket. I had to take some risk off only because I want to, I like probabilities that are more likely. And in my mind, there's a little too many roadblocks here. And, when I'm looking at the different chains, almost 9 out of 10, what I ask myself anymore when I buy a crypto is it as good as Solana? And it is because Solana has more protocols on it, has more adoption, lower gas fees, and people are using it. Simply, people are using it. Cardano is a staking mechanism. Great. Cardano, 2 million accounts now. Great. Hoskinson going after people are more important than protocols. Debatable. That is a very long-term strategy, and it could be the most brilliant one ever. And he is a brilliant man, but you are going with the long game. So, just be wary if you're going with Cardano. This is a long play, which is why I reduced my holdings and I'm staking now what I have left of Cardano, and I'm not touching it, and I'm fine with the long game with what I have. But in this cycle right now, I want to stick to the Solanas. I like Polygon. I like Ethereum and Bitcoin. And Bitcoin is the most pristine asset right now because of it being the epicenter, the very beginning of a new line of thought of what is money. And it is a wonderful conversation. You can check my community tab. There are 2 videos in my community tab on DG Trades that you can check out, where one is with a gentleman named Breedlove, and another is from Jordan Peterson talking to Breedlove and others. Sorry, my heater just kicked in, which is telling me I got to get going here. And they're talking about really what is money. Bitcoin satisfying this new, just pretty much the invention of money, like Bitcoin. But that's I don't want to sound like a Bitcoin maxi. Maybe we'll talk about that later, but check those out on the community tab. And guys, I hope this helped you out in regards to Cardano. Price does matter to people who are in it to make money. And even those playing the long game want to make money. Don't be fooled. They are in it because they want to make money. And, the project is great. The aspirations, the goals, wonderful. But they also want to make money. And you have to be real like that. That's just brass tacks right there. All right, everyone. Thank you for watching. And again, apologies about the heater kicking in. It's really cold here. All right, everyone. Have a good day, and I will see you on the next vid.